Hi, good afternoon. Welcome in this meeting from labor union, the Unie, about your ING CLA. We don't do this very often in English, so somewhere, somehow, we are a little bit nervous to find the right words to explain the situation, but we will do our best. And if things are not quite clear to you, you can ask questions in the Q&A, and we will come back to you as soon as possible on that question. You got to know one thing first, and that is that if you ask a question, we got about a 1 minute delay in broadcasting and receiving the questions. So we will do our very best to keep the meeting up to speed and use the right terms to explain everything to you. Thanks for watching. I'm the chairman of Labor Union, the Unie, and we are is the technical difficulty over now? Yeah. Yes. Okay. We were hearing our own sound back, so I was quite a bit distracted. But I'm the chairman of the labor union, the Unie, one of the three unions with ING negotiating about your CLA, and these negotiations were tough last month, and so tough that for the first time in history of ING we had to go on strike. And well, the strike was last week. You must have noticed it. And after that strike, the board of ING came forward to us during the weekend on Saturday night. And they invited the unions to come over on Sunday to have a talk about the various options possible for the CLA. This was not expected by us because a couple of weeks ago we sent ING an ultimatum with our demands for your CLA. And normally in that process, an ultimatum is answered by the company we're sending this ultimatum to with a letter. And in that letter, there's the reaction on the ultimatum. And we expected a letter from ING with a new offer on your CLA, so we could consider to start negotiations again. But due to the fact that the relationship with ING, of course, is in regular process is good, we couldn't say no to the invitation of the board to come over on Sunday. So the process was a bit disturbed. We were on strike. The board invited us for an informal meeting to have a talk about the options about the CLA. And these options were talked about during the entire Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, and didn't result in any feeling at the side of the unions to start negotiations again. So none of the three unions involved are willing to start negotiations on base of the offer which was made informally by the board of ING. And then something happened which might surprise you a bit, because the last couple of months the three labor unions were holding hands together, standing united together with you, member or no member of the union. But due to the fact that the board of ING interrupted the process, we as the three unions decided to have our own process internally with our own members to discuss the actual situation which we have right now. This means that the Unie last Tuesday had a meeting with members, which was a strike. We had a strike for 2 hours, and we informed our members at that point in Dutch about the situation. The other two unions, FNV and CNV, did have meetings with their own members as well this week, and they have their own process. And at the end of the week, we hope that the three unions are willing to come together again and stand united to a new situation about your CLA, and have a joint, let's say, a joint communications in the direction of the board. If that happens, I don't know yet, but my colleague Inge de Vries on the left side for me, she will explain to you what happened the last couple of months, and then your colleagues Joop, Michel and Ilya, you can see later on, they will tell you the things they know, and they can explain to you later on. But as a chairman of the union, I can tell you that it doesn't matter in what pay grade you are at ING. The offer ING makes you is not enough. Since the end of 2020, you didn't get any pay raise at all. We call that in Dutch de nullijn. There's a baseline there. You didn't get any extra money, and it's time to raise your salary with a bigger percentage than ING is offering you right now. I cannot say you enough. I cannot. How do you say this? I would. I would like to convince you that for us as the Unie, it's a very how to explain this. It's difficult for us to go on strike. We don't go on strike very often. We are the labor union with the power of the argument. We have the content of our arguments should be enough to convince your board to have a better pay raise for you. And I tell you, the board is deaf to all our arguments. And I'm concerned about the toughness, the way the board talks about the staff at ING. And that concerns me, because when this is over, when the strikes are over, when this discussion is over, and when we get a better CLA for you, we have to come together and we have to work for ING all together. And we have to be very careful about things going to happen. We have to be sensitive to the culture of ING and your, let's say, how do you say this, sort of familyness, togetherness on the work floor. We have to be looking forward to the period after these tough negotiations. But don't worry, we will keep that in mind. But for the moment, I have to say your board is deaf to our arguments. It's not enough what they're offering you. And in the next hour, we will explain to you the contents of the offer. And once again, if you have questions, you can ask it in the Q&A. And you can do it in English, you can do it in Dutch. Don't do other language, we're not prepared to that. And there's a 1 minute delay in your question. So enjoy your meeting, and I will get out of the picture now, and Ilya will join. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reinier. I will take over now. Hello everybody, my name is Inge de Vries. I'm the union representative of the Unie, and I've been negotiating the CLA with ING for the last 6 months, I believe. I'm not only negotiating with ING, I always also do this kind of work with other banks in the Netherlands. I think it's important to walk the employees through the final offer that ING made. And I also want to explain something about what is common practice with CLA negotiations. This is the schedule for today. We will, I will give you some background. We have regularly room to answer questions. You can put your questions in via the Q&A of the live event. We will walk you through the final offer. We will explain what it means financially for the employees. And then we have some concluding remarks and what we're going to do next. So let's go through with this. CLA negotiations in the Netherlands. What's usually practice that there are unions who represent the employees, and we talk a lot with the employees, of course, and most with our members who are working at the company. And then we have negotiations with the board or with HR, and that results in an agreement, which is important because an agreement that's then we as unions say we have had enough influence. Our ideas are also in this agreement, and well, we may not be happy with everything, but on the whole, we think this is a good deal. And that's happening all over the Netherlands with all different companies. And the average salary raise in the Netherlands for this year, so for 2023, is about 7% for all employees. That's the average. Some companies are paying more, some are paying less, especially companies with who are not very profitable do not pay that much. They do not reach the 7%. The 7% is the average in the Netherlands. And well, you can see later that ING does not match the 7%. This year's negotiations at ING were very tough. It's not the first time. The last negotiations also were very difficult. And that's because they ended with, well, zero salary raise. And the last time ING told unions we want to, we think our employees earn far too much money, and we want them well the salary down. So we want 3 years of no salary raise. Well, it's been talked down to 2 years, but also that was a hard bargain. And this year, well, they started with 2% because there was such a high inflation. That was 14% at the time we started, so 2% was of course not enough. And well, all the time there were, you talk with someone who doesn't want to listen because they are so full with their own ideas and they think, we know what to do, you are a nuisance and you're only in the way, so we won't listen to you, just do as I told you. That's why there was finally a strike. The first strike, as I mentioned, in the history of ING, and then we had an informal talk, which I cannot mention further because they were informal, and then we had a surprise because there was a final offer. And final offer does not, well, the final offer, that means that the company says, well, it's clear the unions do not want to listen to us. When you can either sign this, the ideas of ING, or we will not talk with you anymore. So that's where we stand. And now I'm going to ask my colleague if there are any questions.
Yes, the first question is that ING is saying in these board meetings that they will go on with this offer even if the unions don't agree. What would this mean, or can they do that?
In Dutch labor law, a CLA cannot just be put away. So they, of course, ING will be able to raise salary as they have proposed. I don't think anybody is going to the judge to ask, well, I don't want the money. I don't think that will happen. But they cannot make anything, what's now in CLA, they cannot make it go away. So they have to always follow through with everything that has been agreed upon in the last year, short of a few small details who are limited in time.
For the first year, that is.
Hmm?
For the first year, that is.
Yes.
So you would say that it can only have a positive impact because they can give more than that is written in the CLA, but they cannot give less than
Yes.
that is agreed upon. Yeah, why is the Unie going on with actions and FNV and CNV are not? Why are you not on the same page?
Well, we were on the same page until well, Tuesday morning, very at about Monday morning at about 11:30. I cannot speak for FNV and CLA because they make their own decisions, their own judgments. We have looked at the CLA at the final offer, and we have concluded that it's nowhere near the ultimatum that has been put forward. So it's just not good enough to work, because if you receive a final offer and as a union you give it and ask the members to vote on it, well, for a part you say, well, that's all we can do. There's nothing else. You either take it or well, it's not very strong to have a vote on it.
The next one is more of a comment than a question, but maybe it strengthens your story that you were just saying. It's a compliment for us as unions for our commitments and support during these negotiations, and the good results have already been achieved for the lower salary scales, but the C stands for collective, and therefore I hope that we can stand side by side to achieve a good and fair result for others as well. What's your take on this comment?
Well, I agree with that. You can see that ING has, before this offer, they have made other offers public, and you can see that, well, they will not back down on what they have offered before. So now they have made this offer. Let's say it's a final offer, but well, there are more final offers in CLA negotiations, and of course we can make a better CLA than what is than ING is offering right now.
I guess let's go to the next part. Yeah.
Thank you. Then the final offer. I'm going very short comments on the final offer. It's the duration of the final offer is for 2 years, and that means that if this should be accepted, you cannot talk with ING for another 2 years, just until December, last day of December, on making a better arrangement. And the collective salary increase in 2024 is only 3%. So if the inflation will remain this high, this 3% next year also will not be enough. So that's an important part. There's a one-off 2,000 euros. We will explain something about that later. The collective salary increase, they will always also be explained to you. There's an additional increase of the salary scale with another 12%. That's important for people who are at the maximum of the salary scale, because they have new perspective. But also it also means that ING does not really need another CLA after this one, because they can always say to everybody, well, you have a raise in salary, because there is an in-skill salary raise. I do not know any other company in the Netherlands who say, well, you have in-skill salary raise and count that as a part of the final CLA offer. Only ING does that. We always talk about the in-skill salary raise. That's agreed upon a long time ago. People have a right on that. And the collective salary increase, that's what your negotiations are about every year. Well, then the in-skill salary raise, we will show you why the deterioration of the skill salaries is well, it does not work good for the employees. And there are some new elements, the possibility to increase the promotion step, which can be important, but be watchful about it. It's 3 up to 12%, but it means it can also be 3. You have not the right to only 12% if you make a promotion. And also, it only starts July this year. That means that everybody who has had a promotion in April this year cannot use the 3 to 12%, which is offered here. That's for promotions next year. And of course, we asked ING, well, you have to make this, it's better than the current promotion article. So we want to use that. If you want to agree upon this, we want to use the 3 to up to 12% this year, but they will not do that. Then the next page, the social plan is extended through the whole year of 2042. Social plan is meant for if you lose your job with ING because there is a reorganization. I hope that's English. Then the social plan states how much ING has to pay you for because you are fired. The transition work plan is the same extension. That's meant when ING is outsourcing work within the Netherlands, then people have to follow their job and they have to leave ING and become an employee of the new company. And then we have some, the transition work plan gives those people guarantees of work. There's a fixed home allowance of 45 euros. In the same time, there is another allowance, an internet allowance that one will expire. So it's not a plus 45, it's less, it's plus 20, 25. Then the travel allowance is increased. That's nice. The lease budget for the people in sales, who work in sales, is also better. We had hoped for a better deal. It's not enough for them. They still will have to pay a lot to buy an electric car or lease an electric car. You have an interview with a financial coach. It's nice. The ING wants to introduce unlimited leave, which sounds lovely, unlimited leave, but there has been a pilot, and the pilot, well, one of the things the people who worked in this pilot noticed was that they that it was very difficult to have your leave because you the workload and the working hours everybody has to make is very high. So you can give people unlimited leave, but you still have to do your job. It has to be good, and you have to finish everything before you can take your leave. So the first pilot was not very successful, and we are a little bit worried about this clause. Then there's a new pension agreement. The current pension agreement is extended for another year. That's, well, the pension fund asked us to extend it 3 years and not just 1 year, because there's going to be a lot of changes, and the capital markets are very volatile on this moment. So the pension fund asked us for, well, please extend it 3 years. Well, it's only 1, so I want to do something about that too. And there is an increase in parental leave, which is nice, but not enough. So I think that were a lot of short comments, but maybe there are some questions right now.
Yeah, yes, there are. And I got some questions in delay about the previous part, but maybe I will start with the parts of this offer. It's the same, some of the same questions we had on the Dutch session. What does it off? What does this offer mean for the pensions? And then they mean the increase of the salary.
Yes, it's because of the nominal salary increase. It's which is different for well, almost everyone. We have not talked with the pension fund right now how they think they are going to solve this. So it's a whole new way of raising the salary. It's never been done by ING before, and the pension fund usually just increases the pensions with the percentage of the salary raise, which for 2024 would be 3%. So they can do that, but the nominal raise in 2023, well, I have not figured out how the pension fund will is going to do that. So I cannot answer the question. We have to talk with them. But on this moment, it's not sure that the offer will stand, because if the members of the FNV and CNV reject the offer, then well, of course, ING has to talk with the unions again.
Then I'm going back to one of the questions I received before, because it connects with this one, because you're saying that if FNV and CNV will reject the offer, what happens then? But there's also a question, what if they do accept? What happens then?
Yes, and well then, if the members of both FNV and CNV accept this offer, ING has enough unions to close the deal. Well, that will be the fact. Then they can say, well, now we have a new CLA, and then we have, as the Unie, we will have to decide what we will do with in that situation.
Good. Somebody says I miss in this list that the social plan has no nawerking. It's that word is in Dutch, but they're afraid that it doesn't bode well for what ING has planned for the year after. How does this work, and is this normal?
Yes, the social plan has no. I will try, because I don't know what nawerking is in English also. They're looking afterwards. The CLA has a clause, and it's also written down in the law, that if there is not in time a new CLA, the old CLA, dus the current CLA, will be effective for another year. And with the social plan, that's not the case. So at the end of the duration of the social plan, it's also over. And well, what does that mean? You have to negotiate a new social plan. We also ask the Works Council. Yeah, thank you. The Works Council to not to agree with any reorganization as long as there is no social plan. It's very important to work together as works councils and unions on that subject.
How do you evaluate the strike in Leeuwarden, and why did you cancel the strike on the 11th of April?
I think the strike in Leeuwarden was nice. It was a good. This was not something I planned.
No, I understand.
So I'm looking forward to more. That the people who came outside were nervous about it. You could see that they were very nervous. They had never done that before. So I think they were very brave to come outside. There was a lot of press. We had 2 television stations there, and a lot of journalists. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal for people to come to walk outside. There were a lot of people who were working that day were striking, because at Leeuwarden, 50% of the people who work there are not employees of ING, but are hired. So, and they well, if they strike, they immediately don't have money, and they are very fearful to lose their job because they're in an insecure work relation. So we did not count that for them to come outside. But for the people who were working that day, a huge percentage was coming outside. There were only a few people left inside from the employees. And we also know that a lot of the people who were working from home that day also did not work. So I think it was a successful event. Why did we cancel the 11th? Well, we have a lot of questions from employees who say, well, why do the unions, they don't work together anymore? People thought it's very good that we were holding hands, and well, we thought it would be a bad sign if we and making the other unions look worse if we are striking and they are not. So we say, well, let's make it a day to celebrate, and we have find another way to talk with our employee, with our members, and look forward to the next strike, which will be at a general shareholders meeting.
Yeah, I got some more questions, but maybe good to
Yes.
go to the next subject. And then...
Yes.
I'll take over from here, don't you? Okay. That's the wrong. That's the wrong way.
It's upside down. You're holding it upside down.
I'm holding it upside down. Something like ING also right? Sorry for the interruption. My name is Joop Brugman. I'm a colleague of yours. I'm working at having worked at ING for 33 years already. Currently, I'm working at global compliance, actually doing a short-term assignment with DBNL mortgages. I won't start it today, probably tomorrow. I'm also a member of the union for quite some time. I've been in the board of the Works Council. That's why I know the name Works Council. And for the last 10 years, I've been in the negotiating bit of the Unie. I'm going to talk to you about some calculations. We have, I think, two things to present to you, and Ilya will be doing the latter one, the outcome of the offer. What does it mean for you in purchasing power, etc. And I will do some comparison. What happened in between the different offers and how it is at work internally, what's happening under the hood, right? I think it's going the right way. Actually, Inge just walked you through the total offer made by ING. I think there are two main differences from the past. The last offer made, one is the 200 euros one-off, as Inge already mentioned, and the other one is a change in the way the salary increase of January 1st in 2023 is being proposed. There used to be this table of 7, 6, 5, and 4% depending on your income, and now it's up to amounts instead of percentages. So they offer you 400 euros a month for the lower two worker brackets, and 320 for the top two. And of course, there's a minimum if you should have had more in the last offer, so 5% in the top, just below 100k, or 4% in the top bucket. That's still on the table, so you shouldn't deteriorate at all. That last one, being the 5% just below the 100, has been an addition to the offer made yesterday by ING. So if your calculator says you have 95,000 euros a year and you are a bit deteriorating, that's already correct. Well, let's go through the details. First one is the one-off, the 200 euros. You say, well, 200 euros is a lot of money, and you can buy a lot of chocolates for it, chocolate eggs, because it's Easter in these days. But then, of course, that's not the case. We were aiming for it to have an increase by the 1st of January. In the proposal of ING, it's not starting before the 1st of July, so you take 6 months of your increase. Well, they try to compensate that with 2,000 euros, which is actually not enough, because if you just multiply 400 euros by 6, it already is 2,400 euros, and then that leaves out the 13th month, the vacancy, the holiday bits, and also the the 3.5% BIS. So you should probably be more around 2,500 up to 3,000, depending on where in your scale you are. But it is of course an decrease because they didn't put it on the table before. So actually, action does work out for everyone for this one, but still not where you want to be. You want to have it on the first. The other thing, which is more complex, is the salary increase by the 1st of July. There used to be 4 groups. Now actually it's going to be 6 groups because of this miscalculation on ING side as well. In the bottom side, you used to have they pro 7%. They offer you now 400%, and we have to actually say it's a big deal. Yeah, if you had 300 euros a month, 7% would be 210 euros. They lift it to 400, so yeah, that's about 13.3%. Well done. For this one, I think we get a long way where we want to go actually ourselves. Of course, there's still lots of CMU which really work through for this group because it's nominal account of 1,000 euros a year, but there's still some improvement. For the next group, 60,000 to 80,000 euros yearly, which is also, by the way, calculated including your 13th month, your holiday payments and your allowance and your BIS. So in the scale, you're not very high. It looks higher than it is. Well, there's a small improvement. It also goes to 400 euros, which is for someone earning 5,000 a month. It would have been 300, so there's some increase there. Also, there's lots of CMU still there. So effectively, it's not very much. If we don't take into account the 2 years freeze period, we don't take into account the next year being below par, and of course the inflation being high. That's all in the pictures being presented by Ilya in a few moments time. And then we got the top buckets which are split actually, and you see, well, they used to have about 5% or 4% raise. Well, corrected is 5.3, 4.3 for the lower bits, and for the upper bits, its raise remains the same. So actually, there's no increase there. The only increases that are only is in the bottom half, and actually there are only about 35% to 40% of people working in those bottom half scales, right? How does it impact your salary, your purchasing power? If you average out and you add it up, then you say, well, the old result is in the middle of the sheet, would have been somewhere between 4 to 3%. The lower bits receiving 4%, and the highest amounts about 3%. Well, actually, as you can see, the top 4 buckets are not being affected at all, and the bottom 2 only very slightly. The bottom 1 is actually more than slightly. And still, it doesn't come anywhere near the lack of purchasing power that used to be already there. One more slide before I should have pointed out. Yeah, I just added that a few minutes before the presentation. Something I want to add, and then I want to hand over to Ilya. We have been negotiating with ING for, let's say, 6 months from now. And the first offer, which was 2% for a 1-year CLA, is not in this picture, but the other offers are. And the next offer was 3% for 2 years period, 3% 23, and 3% rates in 24. The next offer, the red one in here, says, well, we can lift the 24 bit, but you have to lose the CMU. Then we received the 6.754% proposal, and last one is the nominal amounts instead of the raise, the percentage raise, and you can see how it affects the wages of people in different salary classes. And also for this one, Ilya has a very nice graph, but it shows very clearly that for the top 3 brackets, in which are equally 60% of all ING employees, nothing really changed substantially, right? And even for the 500 euros a month, there's no very big raise. And of course, it's only the upside where the wages are going up, but we should still not affect that all employees, being high or low in salary rates, have really have a freeze on that, have a freeze on salary for 2 years. For 1/3 of them, it's actually a freeze because there was no in-scale movement as well. So they are a very large way behind where they should have been right now, because we agreed to a very low CLA, because the pandemic was threatening to affect ING financial performance, which actually it did not do. Of course, the in-scale movement for next year is really deteriorated, so it takes you over 30 years to travel from the lower boundary of scale to the top. And of course, also the 3% is very low for next year. Let's not forget the inflation. Can I give on this to?
Thank you.
Maybe can I
Some
get-
questions?
Yes. Do we have specific numbers of the total budget impact of the changes ING proposes versus the changes that are proposed by us or the proposal they did before? For example, to set them off towards the year's profit of 3.7 billion euros.
Actually, I think the total wages paid out in the Netherlands for ING are somewhere in the range of 1.3 billion, right? If there's an average increase of 5%, which I think is in there, it's about 65 million euros. The one-off is obviously from 14,500 people times 400 euros, times 200 euros is 29 million. It's way behind the decimal point of anything happening in ING financially. Actually, the payout to the shareholders, the shareholder buyback, actually cost about 1.5 billion. If they put that on a saving account for a 6% a year, they could have easily been paying the requested raise in a limited time period of time.
Thank you.
And perhaps something to add to this, because we're bringing the shareholders into the equation now. The yearly raise to the shareholders has been 27%. And a 1.01 euro payout has been increased to 1.28 cents payout over this year, which is an increase of 27 cents, which is 27% as well.
Thank you. Then I have one other question about, and I think if I get this right, it's about the horizontal step that people can make. How does the increment works when an employee moves from one squad to another squad, but in the same tribe? This is an internal movement. Is this change enough for the employee to trigger the salary increment?
No.
Probably not.
No.
And it was put on the table the first time we discussed it with the ING, and then we already noticed that there was a change of explanation or interpretation of this. If you're doing the same job in another team, it's not considered a horizontal move. You have to go to another job.
Yeah, shall I continue?
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Joop. My name is Ilya Boulaars. I'm a financial economist working in the integrated risk department. I'll present to you a couple of graphs to first dive a bit deeper into the purchasing power development of our wages, and then also look in a bit more detail into the developments of the in-scale raise. So let's first start with this graph. What you see here is on the horizontal axis, you see the years starting at 2020, going all the way to the 2024. And on the vertical axis, I plotted the development of the purchasing power of the ING CLA wages relative to the last collective raise that we've seen. So this last collective raise is visible if you look at September 2020. You see a little hike in the blue line there. That's the last 3% raise that we've seen. And so from that point onwards, the purchasing power of the ING CLA wages has only gone down with inflation. So the blue line basically reflects the CPI inflation in the Netherlands. And on January 1st, 2023, you see that we were at a purchasing power reduction of 16%, which is obviously a tremendous amount. And we haven't seen anything like that in the past, I don't know, for forever, maybe. So obviously that was an important reason for the unions during this negotiation to demand a significant increase in the wage level. I've plotted the different ultimatums by the different unions here. On the top, you see the ultimatum by FNV, which demanded an increase of 14.3%. And below that, you'll see the purple line. That's the ultimatum by labor union, the Unie, and labor union CNV. These unions both demanded a 10% collective raise. And as you can see, even though these demands sound very bold, 14%, 10%, it still implied that purchasing power compared to 2020, just before the corona pandemic, still the purchasing power would have been down by several percentage points, which highlights that these demands were not outrageous or off the chart or whatever you want to, whatever words you want to use there. So below these the union demands, I've plotted the final offer that ING put on the table this Monday. Obviously, the difficulty there is that the ING offers a different percentage for all the different wage levels. So I've just, for this specific graph, I picked just three wage levels I thought were useful to get a sense of the purchasing power development. So the top line is the ING offer for somebody earning 4,000 euros before taxes a month. Below that, I've plotted the line for somebody earning 6,000, and below that, somebody earning 8,000. So there you can see that. Oh, maybe good to add here. I included the 2,000 one-off in these lines by assuming they are paid gradually over the first 6 months of the year. Obviously, that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be paid in July, but for the graph, it makes it easier. Obviously, otherwise it would be a kind of a hike in July. But so now it's a nice smooth line. But as you can see, this offer implies for these three wage levels that I'm considering here that the purchasing power loss at the 1st of January is already between 7% and 11%. But then we have to consider that, of course, inflation is still relatively high. And as Inge mentioned, ING is offering this offer is for the next 2 years. So we'll have to then swallow the inflation that will follow during this year and during next year. And to give you a sense of the impact of that, I've taken the inflation expectation of ING Research, and so you'll see that if ING Research did a good job, at the end of this year, our purchasing power will already be down somewhere between -12% and -17% if you're in between 4,000 euros or 8,000 euros a month. So these are really historic numbers, I would say. Now to zoom because I had to pick several wage levels.
Perhaps good to add.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
If you look at the 16% at the end of 2023, right? Start of 2023. Actually, 1 year later, people are still lagging, right? So they go from 16 to 70% down.
Yeah.
They even lose more purchasing power through the year.
Yeah. Oh, I have to use this one. Okay, thank you. So so because the ING offer differs by wage level, I've also included this graph, which has the wage level on the horizontal axis. So here you can just look on the horizontal axis for your own wage level. And then again, you can see what the purchasing power loss would have been for you under the two different ultimatums that the labor unions have put forward. And then also for the different, actually the different offers that ING put on the table in the past 6 months. So the solid orange line is the final offer we heard on Monday. And so that's interesting. It's interesting to see. I was almost wanted to step in when somebody asked the question like, what did you think of the strikes in Leeuwarden? Because I actually really think you can see the Leeuwarden effect, is what I would like to call it. You'll see that in the wage levels below, let's say 5,000 euros, ING really did significantly improve the offer. It really, I don't know if there are many people at ING that earn only 2,500 a month, but if you're earning 2,500 a month, you really went from a purchasing power loss of 16% to only about 7 or 8%. So that really is a significant improvement. On the other hand, as Joop also pointed out, if we look at, say, somebody earning 6,000 euros a month, really there is hardly any change. It's I can't even see it from here when I'm looking at my screen. So yeah, ING really decided to well, it's not very. I was almost going to say give staff earning more than 6,000 the finger, but I don't know. That's probably not a politically correct way to say. But they really said, okay, if you're earning above 6,000, really we don't care about the fact that you're losing 70% in purchasing power. The fact that that means that you can now you're basically in real terms losing almost 2 months of income. And we are only going to spend a little bit of extra money on the lower end of the wage range. Let's see if there's anything else I should add on this one. Yeah, so I also on the very bottom you see the black lines, that those were the offers that ING put forward a couple months ago. And so even compared to that, ING really didn't move when it comes to people that are above 6,000 a month. But let's do finish positive. So the strike in Leeuwarden, I think, was really successful in the sense that ING, for those people that work there that are probably on the lower end of the wage range, it really made a big difference. So I guess it's an invitation for people who are at a bit higher wage level to follow their example. Let's continue to my final graph. So now we're moving away from purchasing power to the in-scale wage growth. So what's annoying about the way ING actually communicates is that, I think Inge also mentioned it earlier, they're always adding collective raises and in-scale raises together, while you should not do that, and I don't think any employers in the Netherlands usually do it, because the collective raise is, among other things, a compensation for inflation, while the in-scale raise is compensation for the fact that people that stay with ING and work at ING, they gain experience, they become more effective at their job, and you want to reward that as a company. Why? Because also the market rewards that, right? So if I start with 0 experience, probably in the market I can get a lower wage than if I, say, have 5 years of experience at ING, because then other companies will say that's useful experience. We actually want to pay you a bit more if you join us. So as an employer, you want to make sure that people that are gaining experience and are becoming more effective, that you reward that by increasing their wage rate. So in this graph, what I've done, I've shown the final ING offer, which is, as Inge pointed out, that people get either 2% if you're in the lower half of your wage scale, or you get 1% raise each year if you're in the upper half of your wage scale. So that's the orange line you see here. But then I've as a comparison, I've plotted like what I consider like an average Dutch CLA. And what you see there is usually people get something between 3.5% and 4% every year. And now the difference between 3.5 and 2 may sound limited, but of course over time this adds up, right? So if we look here, if somebody who's joining ING right now, works for ING in 5 years, this person actually loses 10% of wage compared to working somewhere else. And I think this is really remarkable. I'm really surprised that ING is so kind of eager to reduce the growth perspective. And I think it's really a serious weakness also to attract and to keep talent within the company. But it is what it is. Yeah, Maybe we can go to some questions because this is my last graph.
Want to go back to the question we were before, and it's going a bit more specific. It's the horizontal move within the squad. So it's the role and responsibility slightly changes in the moving in the new squad. The skill remains the same. So what would then be the criteria if it to be listed somewhere to decide to give an increment or not?
ING
That's
has
up to
not-
ING, but from my perspective, I think your job title should change.
Okay.
So if you're a customer journey expert, in let's say pay grade 9, and you would become a new again a customer journey expert in pay grade 9 in other squad, you probably will keep yourself. Should it be in other part of the company and other domain, that may be different. But that's up to ING.
But we are not sure because ING has not told us how they will implement this offer.
Thank you. Well, we are hearing a lot about the final CLA figures being not good enough. Would it be possible for us to hear an example of a figure when it would be good enough? What's the percentage that would be defined as well enough?
Translation. So it's
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we of course put forward an ultimatum where we asked 10%, and as you have seen, this would include a bit of a purchasing loss. Loss of purchasing power by the employees, so we thought it would be a fair deal. Well, it's clear that the ING they're still around 5%. So I think it's a very large gap to close. But if you do not try it, this is what you can get.
Thank you. No other specific questions.
No more questions?
Not about this part, no.
No. All right.
Can I give the floor to Michel?
Yes, we'll make a short change. Sure, Michel.
Thank you, Inge, and good afternoon. Good afternoon all. My name is Michel Rutte. I'm working as a customer journey expert, chapter lead within Tribe Payments of transaction services within wholesale banking. And I'm working now for a little bit more than 25 years at ING. A great company with a lot of possibilities to grow, to develop, and to work together. So that's really something I'm proud of. And sitting here at this table is a situation we shouldn't want together, not from ING perspective and not from an employee perspective, because in the end we want just to serve our clients, to help each other, and to make the night things what we are used to do in our company. But unfortunately we are here now, and we have to make the best of it. And we are also here to make sure that we will have a continuation of our good cooperation together, because it's also in the interest of both ING and the employees to come to a good and wealthy CLA. In the end, it's for sure that we, from an employee perspective, of course, we want to be rewarded for the work we are doing. It's a lot of stress we have at the different things we are confronted with from both a market perspective and the clients that are calling a lot, the incidents we have within the organization, which hampers us for servicing our clients, but also the regulatory pressure we have to deliver. So all those things are putting a lot of pressure on us. And what we did during COVID and the latest CLA negotiations, we did as employees come a little bit closer toward ING management in order to make sure that in uncertain period of time during COVID, that we agreed with a zero line on the collective increase, which turned out for ING very well. We can be very proud of that, but now it's time to have also a little bit more reward for that. And of course, what we are doing now together, looking at the results that ING have attained also last year. Financially, ING is a very healthy company. Joop also just mentions about the return on investment for our shareholders, and that return on our employee investment also should be quite equally rewarded as we have it also for our shareholders. So the story that we are bringing and why we think it's still not enough what we have received is really about a fair share of the income that we generate altogether. And that fair share is something that we are not gaining at this moment. The result of the CLA negotiations at this moment are not enough. The final offer of ING is not enough. We see for people that have lower income wages, there the compensation looks quite fine, but for the biggest part of our population, it's not. So we really urge ING to come with a better offer. That is needed for you, for me, because we feel that we are not rewarded enough looking at the results and what we are doing together, but also in the interest of ING itself. It's not a conflict in that sense, ING versus employees. ING also needs to reward its employees in order to attract other employees and new members of our family. So we urge really ING to do that. And so we hope that we also made clear why we as the Unie, we did not accept the offer and will not propose it to our members, because we have to be, we have to stick together now. And so we hope also that the FNV and CNV will see that it's still needed that we come together with ING to a better offer, and that we can continue with our actions to come to that proposal. So stick with us, and please send me a message or whatever for the coming time to help each other and to come to a better CLA.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And I will close this session with telling what our next step will be, and of course there will be some extra time for to answer some questions. I see I did not translate something, actiekalender. One word I did not translate.
Action calendar.
I think everybody can understand it. There is a strike announced for April the 24th, because on that day there's the annual shareholders meeting, and also we think that the voting at the FNV and CNV, the other unions will be ready then, so we know we can go on with the three of us, we hope. And we have decided to use the 11th of April to hold a work session at Unie Plaza, it's the home of the Unie, to prepare for this strike, because you have to arrange a lot. You have to make a strike work. So we call on the members of the Unie to come and join us the 11th of April. It's probably be mainly in Dutch, but if there are more English speaking people than Dutch speaking people, of course we will change to English, since we are all practicing our English right now. So that's the next steps, and if after the 24th of April, if there is not a satisfactory CLA, we have to make new plans for next month. I hope that's clear. Are there any questions, Wendy?
Yes, just to go back to a previous part, but I haven't got it quite sharp myself, so I'm going to try to explain. Somebody says that the promotion increase only starts in July 2023 in this offer. So what happens if you promote before that date? Do you lose this increase, and why doesn't ING shift this increase then to the beginning of January?
There is in the current CLA, there is also a promotion clause. So if you will pay for promotion, ING will pay between 2.5% and 5%. And that clause will be affected for the promotions that are promised people this year. And ING does not want to give the higher promotion because we have asked that. We have told that people are counting on this because the up to 12% was already communicated months ago by ING, so people are counting on that. We explained that, and they say, well, no, we are it's a done deal. The promotions for this year are under the current clause, and the promotions after 1st of July, well, they can have the higher percentage.
Yeah, the promotion round is every year in April. So the new effectiveness of the CLA then, or the offer of ING, if they implement it themselves, will be then on April 2024.
Exactly.
And the horizontal step is new. So if you have a horizontal step affected April this year or before that, there will be no rewards, sadly.
So you shouldn't make any horizontal steps right now. You could wait until the.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, indeed.
That was my own question. Somebody says ING said that this offer is the final one. If the unions reject this offer, then what can we expect? Because they seem quite determined not to negotiate anymore.
Yes, but they have been refusing to negotiate it with us from the start, and so by not negotiating with us, they raised their from 2% to what we are now. So well, we just have to work through the process.
Good. Well, somebody's asking, but I don't know, maybe in the meantime, when they asked this question, you were answering already, but what do you mean by promotion in July, salary increase, or going to a higher function?
Can you repeat that question?
Going to a higher function, so a job grade level difference from well, the old terminology from 10 to 11, for example. That's the promotion.
When do you think that there will be more clarity from CNV and FNV on their position? Are they going to reach out to their members on the offer?
We have understood from their union officials that they are going to ask the members to well, to vote on this offer, and usually it takes 2 weeks for unions to have a vote, something. That's why we expect clarity before the 21st of April. Can just
Yeah, it was clear. I think that were the questions.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much. And that concludes our session from today. I want to thank everybody for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.